Okay, so go live a few minutes early because I've never done this before. So I don't know if people can see me. I don't know if you can't, but let's see what we have here today. Let's mute that. So I'm clicking over back and forth. I'm setting this up for the first time, and I am looking at both StreamYard. I'm doing this through StreamYard, and I'm actually looking at YouTube and LinkedIn. I'll do the greeting and introduce myself in a little while. Looks like Tom's on. Let's add him to the stream. All right, I just added you, Tom. So you are on. I'm not sure how live we are because we got 3 minutes, but it looks like we got going on YouTube and LinkedIn. I'm just not sure if we're live on LinkedIn just yet.
Very good. How many people we have on? I can't see that on my end.
I can't see yet. So okay. I'm getting one response and saying that they see me on YouTube. And they actually see me on LinkedIn as well. So I get some of the answers there. I do think, hello, everybody. I'm not sure if we're going to get people to join me and you, Tom, but I invited a few people, so we'll see what we can do. I'm trying to get on the LinkedIn real quick so that, I can see it. There it is. There is the chat. That's really what I wanted. I wanted to make sure that I had the chat open, and it looks like I'm going to have to change things around. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. It's great to see everybody. Tom, thank you for joining us. So this is basically the Cutaway Security ICS chat. It's I just wanted to start something on Friday at noon, do something for like about 30 minutes. We'll probably have a few more people that are joining us in a little while because the official start time is in 2 minutes. Tom, thanks for joining me and just kind of kicking this off. It doesn't look like looks like you got no video going. So were you planning on letting us see you? That's awesome. You, sir, are are you moving? I don't condone the driving.
No, I'm actually pulling over here in a minute. You're going to parking lot.
Okay, so yeah, let's save that for later. Safety. Good thing we didn't go completely live yet.
Yeah, I'll be pulled over a couple minutes after.
Awesome. It's great to see people. Daniel's joining us. Brandon's joining us. It's great to see some people out there. I do have some notes. So we, Tom, I'll at least be chatting with you about a few things, and maybe we can, get some comments from people that are joining us. Most likely at work. This certainly is lunchtime for a lot of people. But maybe we can get some good questions and get our input and feedback from both of us, or get some responses from people that are out there that actually do this stuff for a living. So, okay, where's the beer? Thank you, Aaron. I have some clear beer right now, and I'm doing that for everybody. It would be nice to start off. Actually, I would say, Aaron, I was thinking about, how in Australia, I visited Australia, and this is back 20 years ago when I was in the Marine Corps, and I had the days off, but we were going out to have lunch, and a lot of the Australians were coming in, having lunch, having a beer for lunch, which was kind of weird, being from America and stuff. And, not, here in the USA, we usually don't condone drinking in the middle of the day because you're going back to work. But certainly they didn't have a problem with it. It's all about society and culture, and that's some things that we run into when we're talking about ICS and some of the things. So it was interesting to see them having a beer, but it was a lot of fun because they saw that the Americans were in town. There was, a lot of Marines in there, and they actually stayed. They didn't go back to work. They stayed with us and chatted with us and kind of filled us in on the local culture, asked us a lot of questions. And that was Perth, Australia. I really want to go back there. Perth and Fremantle and so forth. So that was great. Good to see a bunch of people, familiar faces. Look at the chat as you're going through. You're going to start seeing some people that are joining in that you might recognize their names. If not, you should probably reach out and look at them, add them to your feeds, the people to watch, because I'm seeing a lot of people that I follow, that I listen to a lot. So it is 12:01, so we've started off our stream, and so let me talk about what I wanted to do. And I've been thinking about this for the last year. I'm really inspired by Tim Medine and his team over at Red Siege. They do what they call the offensive Wednesdays. And so on Wednesday, Tim's gets people together just to have a chat, not to talk about, like, okay, here's the latest and greatest thing, the recent vulnerability that's, everybody is worried about. More to just kind of touch base. But what he does is he invites people on to initiate some of the conversation. So he brings on experts that have a lot of knowledge in the field, and that it encourages people to get in there and talk about things. And I wanted to do that a little bit, as much as I could. He does it on a Zoom session, and so it's really easy for people to go voice. But what I've seen that most people, only a few people actually go voice. It's usually consistently the same people. I don't go every week, so there might be some differences, but certainly a lot of the people, actually ask their questions in chat. So I figured that maybe doing this stream, maybe being able to, instead of just doing a stream session, a Zoom session, doing it via stream, getting on YouTube, getting on LinkedIn, because a lot more of my followers are actually on LinkedIn. Then I can take this and I can save it. I can save it off so that people can come back to it, especially if we have an interesting guest or we come up with an interesting topic. We can store that out on YouTube, so people can come back to it if they missed a day and they're really interested about what we had for a conversation. Okay, so I've invited a whole bunch of people. Tom, you are the one that kind of volunteered to actually be here, or at least the one that made it. Everybody's so busy. I did this as a last minute thing, so it's not too much of a surprise. But if you're going to come back in the future weeks, I'm hoping to have a different crowd kind of rolling through and just kind of standing up, talking to me. Maybe I'll talk about my week. Maybe we'll talk about their week. Maybe we'll just, talk about things that are going on in the industry. Look at chat, seeing what they what they want to do. I just noticed Brandon's thing about Marines and day drinking. We have been known to do that, but at the same time, a clear beer for the win today. Awesome. Okay, so I am monitoring. So what I can see, I'm doing through StreamYard, and if for those of you that aren't familiar with it, StreamYard is a way to do a streaming service, but also connect to several things. As I mentioned, we're connected to LinkedIn, we're connected to YouTube and Twitter at the same time. I'm actually able to see all of your comments, the ones I can't respond. So I can respond to most of you. It won't go out to LinkedIn, but it will go out to YouTube. So if I'm missing your comments from LinkedIn, I apologize. And I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can, or hopefully some of you will answer questions and so forth. So if you do have questions, if you want to know what's going on, what I'm working on, what Tom's working on, and so forth, what's going on in the industry, please go ahead and ask away.
Hey, Don, I can't see anybody's chat, so
okay.
You got on that end?
Yeah, but, I'll see if I can figure out how to get you to see that, but that might be next time. Right now, nobody's asking any questions. So
Don, until people ask questions, why don't I ask you a question? You're out in the field all the time. You got a wide range of customers. The last couple of months, it's all been about Log4j.
Okay.
What's your take on it in OT? What have your clients responded, if anything?
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, a lot of people, over the holidays, they went dark when they were talking about that. So Log4j, the vulnerability, and that it allows remote code execution, rated a CVSS score of 10, meaning that there's remote code execution, and people can take advantage of an environment that has, or an application that has that deployed. It's really interesting because I find myself talking a lot about workflow when we're talking about vulnerabilities or a compromise onto the system, and one thing leading to another, a vulnerability in one thing, and somebody taking an action which downstream has additional effects. And so if you go and read up on Log4j, you can see some of that at work as far as the that workflow and the issues that are created by that. So pretty much everybody, Tom, to answer your question, most of the people that I dealt with went dark to deal with Log4j. And, it wasn't, I had some slower responses because people were doing things. Certainly a part of that was the holiday. I haven't run into it. I do a lot more security assessment work and less of a helping people fix things. So I really haven't had to deal with that as much, but I just recently got back from doing a threat model, and one of the things that they said that they were concerned about, and that would be a quick win because the security team I was working with wanted quick wins to kind of help people understand what some of the risks are and so forth. And they were like, "Hey, look for Log4j because everybody's listening for that right now. It's high on everybody's list, and basically, it would be a quick win for both you." Demonstrating your skills, and for us, meaning that we should be doing these types of assessments in all of our different environments. So that's what I'm experiencing so far, Tom. I'm seeing a question right now. Has Log4j affected the industrial field as much as others? And I'm going to get the name wrong, but I'm just going to call you Dino, okay? And so Dino, I would say that it's pretty consistent. If you look at some of the feeds that are associated with different vendors putting out information about the vulnerabilities that in their products associated with Log4j and the impact, it's kind of a mixture. And what's good, what I think is really good, is that we're seeing a lot more information come out. Okay, Michael. Okay, Michael. I'm seeing a lot more information come out around this. People saying that, hey, we have Log4j in some of our products, but here are those products, and the rest of these products, you don't have to worry about that because that's not a part of it. Okay, and others are actually putting out, information about how to address it, how to update and fix it. So something this big and something with this type of score, this amount of risk, is the vendors are getting a lot of questions from their customers, and so they're being forced to put out information, details to help remediate the risk. And so I think it's a good thing. It's great practice, and I really think that it should filter down to some other areas as well. But we'll take the wins as we can get it. So hopefully that answers your question, Michael. So Tom, what is your experience thus far?
So, Don, I've actually not ran into it. We've had some other projects that I've been focused on, and I've not had any customers reach out about it. So that's one of the reasons why I was interested to see what you've experienced.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, and for those of you that aren't aware of Tom's background, Tom is. Can I talk about Grim, Tom?
Yes, you can.
Absolutely. So Tom's an old friend of mine. I've met Tom through ICS Village and the great work that he's doing over there, leading that team and working with others to continue that project and furthering education within the ICS. But at the same time, Tom has a full-time job over at Grim, both doing product development, supplying services, really doing a lot of security research and generating some tools. So, has this impacted it? Are you aware of this impacting any of Grim's tools that you guys are putting out?
Not that I'm aware of. Not that we've seen.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I figured possibly, but at the same time, you guys are probably well aware of it and probably have already put it out. But you have to ask these tough questions. Even we make decisions, even we, this is a whole supply chain issue, right? There's a vulnerability in one thing that impacts a lot of other things. So that makes a lot of sense to me. And, we got to ask those tough questions even of ourselves. So, Aaron, I'm not sure I understand your question. Your question was, what would you say you do here? Not sure if you were asking me about Tom or something like that. If you could clarify that a little bit, that would be a little bit more helpful, and we can answer that. So, Tom, looking through some of the stuff that was going on in the week, what I was actually kind of glad about is you and I were planning on doing some stuff with a lot of other people for ICS Village. And going out to RSA. Unfortunately, that got canceled and pushed out. Is that being moved out to June now?
That is being moved out to June. And Don, while it's unfortunate that got pushed out, I think it's just going to allow us some extra time to put together a better product. So for everybody's awareness, what we're doing, Don's involved with it. There's other companies that are involved with it also, but Don's certainly picked up a lot of my slack. We are at RSA, they have these things called sandboxes. It's essentially an area for different villages to present what they're working on. So our theme is going to be threat hunting. Threat hunting's we've seen a lot of talks on that in the last a couple of years, 2-3 years or so. It seemed to get a lot of press between threat hunting, IR, forensics. People seem to pay a lot for retainers. People seem to talk about it a lot, but when we start peeling back that onion, there's not a whole lot of stuff there. So what we're going to try to do is provide higher level education on what exactly IR, threat hunting, forensics is. Not necessarily how to do it, but we're going to go over high level, what to look for. We'll bring in CTI, we'll bring in a bunch of other things, and really looking forward to educating and getting training myself. I'm by no means an expert, but we have some really talented people to help explain what's going on. We're going to have live demos there. We're going to use an adversary emulation platform to launch some attacks against some cyber physical systems that CISA is bringing. We'll have some PLC set up, some computers, both virtual and metal, and we'll be attacking them. Then we'll doing some analysis on it. We'll be going through finding those threats and stuff like that. So really looking forward to building that out and finalizing that.
So did you say the dates, Tom? Is that going in June, or have they announced that?
That's
yet?
June. Yep.
Do you know which week that is?
I'd have to Google it. So since we're going out to a bunch of people, I don't want to say the wrong date, but it is the first part of June, before the second half.
Okay. Oh yeah. And I think a lot of things are butting up on that. That the SANS ICS summit has been announced. That's going to be the first week in June. So the first couple days there. Once again, I don't have the exact dates. Did I put the dates in my notes? Nope, I didn't put the dates in there, but definitely put the links in there. And I can post that link right now. So the SANS ICS summit is going on the first week of June. That's, of course, SANS is also good. They're going to have their training events as well. So I've kind of I'll put the comments in there. That actually will go out to YouTube. Probably won't go out to LinkedIn. Not sure just yet how to comment on LinkedIn. So I apologize about that. We can check that later. Let's add it right here to this comment. But that's going on. What I was really excited about, though, is that because they moved it, unfortunately, S4 had to get moved. And that's being moved to now. They've come out with the new dates, April 19th and through the 21st. So I might actually be able to make that now instead of bypassing it. I've heard of a lot of people that I know are going to the S4. And for those of you that aren't well aware, S4 is a really technical conference. It's probably the besides the SANS ICS summit. This probably actually has been going on longer than the ICS summit. Wait, that's not true, right? Because this is number 4 or 5.
No, they're probably neck and neck. They've both been around. Yeah, they've both been around a long time, and they can only be a year or two apart.
Right. So if you can go to probably can't go to both of them, but definitely I would definitely pick one. S4 is a great conference, like I said, because there's a lot of people that are going to be coming giving a lot of technical talks. Dale puts on a great event, in my opinion. There's going to be a lot of networking, and he's really setting up his venue to do that, where there's a lot of networking, a lot of communication. So I'm actually considering that. I'll probably put that week aside so that I can head out there because so many people have asked me if I was going in January, and unfortunately I wouldn't have been able to make it if it was this past week or this upcoming week. So do you think you'll be going out there, Tom?
So I was sending a couple of my people out to January. Well, and I did not plan on attending because we had RSA, a week or two after. But now that it's in April, I think I will attend. It's a fantastic event, and
awesome.
See a lot of people. And since they moved the dates, I'll probably be able to attend.
Let's see. I think I have a link for this. I'm going to try to put this in there. Yeah, so I'm putting it in the comments right now. And so this should be for Dale's S4 events. It does look like my LinkedIn messages are going. So if you needed that stuff, actually, it looks like the next batch of tickets, 401 to 500, are coming up for sale right now. So not sure what his limits are. Certainly 500 people is getting up there. I think it's really exciting. We're going to see a lot of different people from the industrial control arena from that.
So Don, while we're on the topic of conferences this year, one of the other ones I'm going to give a shameless plug to is Hack the Capital on May 4th. ICS Villages conference. We're going to be hybrid this year. We're going to be physically in the DC area, but we will also be streaming all the talks.
Okay. So what do you guys do? So what's the purpose of Hack the Capital?
So we are on our 5th year of running it. Hack the Capital, each year is held in the greater DC area. We tend to get a lot of regulatory policy type talks and audience when we first started, but now we're getting into some really good technical talks, but it is still heavy non-technical just because of the demographics in that area. We get lawmakers to product vendors to industry folks that attend. It is 100% free, something that ICS Village puts on. So yeah, if you can attend either in person or virtually, please do. It's our 5th one, and we couldn't keep on doing it without the help of the community.
I was on mute for a second. I just got my Rocket book, so I needed a new notebook with grid lines and stuff like that. And this is I'm going to start using. I had a recommendation from Mick Douglas, another SANS instructor, to start using Rocket book for my assessments, to take notes down, and then it's easily erasable. And actually, you can upload your notes to your system quite easily. So I'm kind of excited to check that out. But
it is an electronic book. You attach it to your tablet or something. What is it?
So it's basically, I don't want to open it right now. I don't want to get all crinkly, but basically it's just a spiral notebook with different pages. I like to have the grid lines on there in case we have to draw something out or something.
Okay.
And so it's called, the one I got was called the Matrix. So you draw on there. It's basic. I don't want to say it's dry erase marker, but that's the same type of thing. So it Rocket book. see.
Nice.
Yeah, and so basically, what you have to erase it within like 5 days or something like that. I'm not sure the exact amount of time, or it gets permanent on there. But this spiral has like 34 pages. I'll be able to go take notes, and then I can just clean it off with a simple rag, a soft rag, and now I can travel with it, and I'm not exposing the potential of losing that notebook and so forth. So I'll have to try that. Looks like a couple people have tried Rocketbook. One person saying they didn't like it, and that's understandable. A little quirky. Yeah, I figure I give it a try, see what it's like. It seems to me it kind of seems a little strange, just because of the nature of writing in dry erase marker. I imagine that once you close it, maybe some things will wipe off it, but I think it's pretty interesting. Michael, using your PC and keeping everything's in Keep Note, OneNote. I do the same thing. And actually, I was using oh gosh, what is it called? Cherry now? Cherry. I can't remember what it's called off. Cherry's like Cherry Tree or something like that is a part of the Kali, and it's kind of a notebook in Kali. So I was actually using that on an assessment recently, and that was really helpful. So I do keep a lot of things, but Cherry Tree, thank you, Michael. But what I do is I still carry around a notebook, even though I keep all of those notes. We're walking around. We walk around when we're doing these assessments. We're looking in cabinets, taking photos and stuff like that. So keeping track of the comments and stuff that you get while you're having these conversations with the field operators and the engineers when you're looking at certain situations. A notebook is extremely handy. We'll see how the Rocketbook does. Let's see. So we talked about Dale's. We talked about another thing that I want to talk about, and this kind of goes into and I gave a tweet earlier about this, and so Samuel Van Ryder he has been posting on LinkedIn a lot of different job postings, Tom. So I guess that's I pointed that out because a lot of people are looking for, what are the leads? How am I going to find a job into this industry? And I really want to encourage people, if you're interested in getting into this, if you're into information security, or you're a field technician or an engineer and you want to move over to security, start looking for some of these types of positions. They are willing to train people to get out there and learn what they're doing and so forth. So I encourage you to look at it. Sam puts a lot of things out there, so that's a link I wanted to put out there. We do have a question. Let me read the question real quick. So how can I learn, test ICS OT to help me understand use cases and the requirements better? So Tom, did you hear that question?
I did.
Okay. So what would be your recommendation? In information security, we have a lot of CTFs and stuff like that, which are by nature hands-on, because people, you can get a PCAP, or you can go to like Hack the Box and actually throw packets at a system and a process. But that's a little bit more difficult for ICS, OT, industrial equipment. So besides ICS Village, because you obviously have set that up to do that. So Captain, I would encourage you to go to ICS Village wherever you can, if they're in the area. So do you have other recommendations, Tom?
So the getting access to the hands-on stuff has always been a challenge. One, unless you're buying the stuff from eBay, the stuff tends to be a little bit pricey. You need to know where to buy it through local distributors or whatnot. But even that, you need to learn how to install the software and program it and configure it and stuff like that. And you buy $1,500 worth of hardware and some software, and then to set it up and everything, it's a struggle. A lot of people get discouraged and set it aside. So getting access to stuff to test on, to set up and hack or learn how it works is a challenge. I know there's a lot of colleges and universities that are starting curriculum programs, but not everybody is near these colleges or universities. My recommendation would be check out some of your local B-sides, and especially DEF CON. DEF CON full of villages where not only ICS, but we have IoT there, we have cars, we have a bunch of different things, and allow you to spend a day or two hacking away at these things or talking to subject matter experts in the field.
Yeah.
The
Yeah. So one of my favorite ones was Mike Hoffman at it was the SANS ICS Summit, I think in 2020. I can't remember the last one, but he gave a talk there where he took some of the stuff that he did out of the SANS classes and built like a coffee maker. And he's got a whole production environment in his garage and so forth. So it's you really have to, not only do you have to buy the equipment, but you have to set it up, you have to configure it so that you have the inputs and outputs, the management software to configure it and so forth. It can be a challenge, but certainly I think, Tom, you had some good advice around that. So there's an apprenticeship program that you guys are working on with some of the vendors. Do you want to talk that real quick?
Yep, I absolutely. So Siemens Energy reached out to a bunch of different other companies, ICS Village being one of them, SANS, Ready, Idaho State, Missy down in Columbia, Maryland. I just did a podcast on it yesterday, or a webcast rather, and we are. Thank you. We are setting up an apprenticeship program. We hope to have it rolled out here in 2022. We announced it back in November. But working with local industry, working with the higher education companies such as Idaho State and SANS and Missy and some others, to bring whether they're working adults, whether they're students, somebody in, give them some education, set them up with employers, whether they're consulting firms such as Grimm or whether they're a power company or a utility or a manufacturing, set them up for apprenticeship, internship type things, and give them the skills they need to be successful. We identified, well, we didn't. It's been identified long before us that we need people in the workforce that can work on industrial control systems. I've been doing it a long time. Same with you, Don, and we're not getting younger. And you look around us, and the workforce really isn't growing that fast. What can we do to move this along?
Well, absolutely. I'm really of the thought process that especially in North America, or at least in the United States, we don't emphasize, we've got into this trend where we emphasize, college degrees and so forth, but that de-emphasize some of the trade skills and so forth. And, when you talk about electrical engineering, when you talk or electricians and plumbers and air conditioning, environmental stuff, that's still a trade, and there's a lot of education in that, and those people need to be trained for security as well. That's part of my thought process. But at the same time, interning as a trade skill, whether you come out of college or whether or not, I think it's a valuable way to gain information. We should be doing not just internships, but apprenticeships more here in North America and hopefully around the world. So I look forward to that program, and definitely I'm going to encourage people to keep looking into that. I did post the link for that in the thing. So Tom, we're coming up on 30 minutes, so we've got about a minute left. How can people find you, Tom?
So ICS Village, go to icsvillage.com. Certainly find a lot of information on that website. I'm not a real big Twitter person. I do have Twitter. You can absolutely DM me there, follow me there. Follow ICS Village if you want some real information. Say I don't do a whole lot on Twitter. Right. LinkedIn, absolutely. Connect me with LinkedIn, and I'll gladly talk to anybody about anything. Share my experience, share my knowledge. we have multiple job openings also over at Grimm and ICS Village. We're always looking for volunteers to help out with different events. And even if you are, for the volunteers, we're looking for all sorts of skill levels, not just ICS and not just experienced people. We need juniors to seniors to people to help on the back end of things and project management, stuff like that. So
Awesome.
if you got some extra time, reach out and we'll gladly talk to you about what we have available.
Excellent. Tom, thank you very much for helping me on my first stream. Everybody else that joined on YouTube, on LinkedIn, maybe on Twitter, I did check, but hopefully there as well. I appreciate your time. Hopefully you had a good time for 30 minutes. Thank you for the interactions and the questions. Everybody have a great day, great weekend. Go forth and do good things. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Don.